All right, and hello. Welcome to episode 69 of the Harry Man Show. We have two members of a native Phoenix band, a badass metal band, by the way. We have the singer, also a drummer as well, and the drummer of a band called Seboullia, with also a badass theme of one of my favorite franchises of all time, Ghostbusters. We have Ryan and Dio. How you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Thank you for having us.
Good, yeah. So
Yeah,
it was a pleasure to have you guys on. I mean, we had quite a few mutual friends, like I was saying, and yeah, I've just heard nothing but good things, and I actually sat down, listened to music, and I was hooked at that point.
yeah. I just want to say I'm very honored that you would have us on for episode 69.
I didn't really catch it until I was writing my notes out there, and I was like when the high school version of me kind of just laughed, and I was like, all right, yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, so I kind of had to throw a Quagmire, a chuckle in there a little bit with it. So jumping into it, can you tell us about your guys' recent single, Crossing the Streams? Don't cross the streams, I mean.
Oh yeah, you want to make sure you don't cross them before you do cross them.
Yeah. So how long? You guys just released that song. Is that correct?
Yeah, we released it right before the new movie came out, and we had actually recorded all the parts for it last year. We were ready to launch it right when the original release date for the movie was, which I think was a summer 2020 thing.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
And then obviously, everything kind of got pushed back. So we just held on to it. We're like, you know what, that's fine. We had the music video was done as well early last year in like March.
Really? So how did the band come together? Did you guys all in individual metal bands, or was it just kind of a idea you guys put together and kind of ran with it?
I hunted Dio down.
Really?
I courted him, if you will.
I can see why.
I was at work one day, and his wife is a coworker of mine, and I had heard that Dio played drums, but I never really listened to anything that he played. And we were talking about music, and she's like, "Yeah, Dio plays drums. He's pretty good." Like, yeah, but can he do blast beats? And she goes, "Well, yeah." And in my head, I'm thinking, "Yeah, okay." Everyone says that their husbands can play blast beats, but how many of them really can? Yeah. And then I started naming off some popular death metal bands. Like, well, can he play like Aborted? And she's like, "Oh yeah." And right away, I'm like, "Okay, so when can we hang out?"
So it was the two of you that started the project. Would you guys have a theme in mind, or you just started jamming at that point?
Oh, well, so things had already been written, actually. I had started this project with the guitar player Cameron Terrell in like 2018, maybe late 2017. And we had just written a couple of songs, and we weren't really in any rush. I was originally going to try to play drums, and then I tried, and I realized how much I sucked. So then it was a godsend that we had found Dio, and I think it was like early or mid 2019. And then we had another friend of ours that we were like, well, we need another guitar player. So Will plays guitar, right? Yeah, he's pretty good. So he got in here too.
Yeah, it was one of those things that just everything just happened to fall, into the right place at the right time. Because, long story short, from Brazil, I moved to LA a few years ago. I was touring with a bunch of bands and all that, and then I ended up moving to Arizona with my wife.
Oh wow!
And then I figured out I'm gonna give it some time. I'm only really gonna join a project from now on if it's something that I really dig, and if it's something that I really can participate in it, and it has my soul in it.
Yeah.
And then when he sent me the first demo, I was like hooked up right away. It's like really what I like to play and all that, and I didn't even know about the theme yet, but based on the name of the demo, I figured out, and then I made a joke back to him. I sent a video playing that song, my version of the song. Yeah, and I named the song Ghost Blaster, and to let him know that I understood what it was about.
Oh, badass! Dude. That's badass.
So yeah, and it's one of those things. Like, of course, how hard it is to think like you can join these two things, let's say death metal, and you can call it 80s pop culture maybe, and something that I love both, and they all love both things. And then why not just doing it, right? And then we got together. We got along really well right away, talking about all kinds of things. And then I remember I said, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to have to go all the way and do a jumpsuit and all that. And their eyes just shine. And then that was it.
It's badass. So how long were you guys writing together before it kind of sparked and you guys decided to kind of do it?
Me and Cameron had written, I don't know, maybe a couple of songs, maybe like 3 or maybe 4. It wasn't a whole lot. We had originally, like I said, tried to keep it really just old school, like old school Bloodbath, classic death metal. And then we got Dio, so that was out the window. I was like, well, we got to do a lot of blast beats now.
Yeah.
Because the original intention was that I was going to attempt to play drums, so it was going to be a lot of slower, like mid-tempo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that wasn't working. So
now, obviously, you guys
it all changed.
You guys kind of formed right before the shutdown. Is that correct?
Sorry, say again.
Did you guys form around the time the shutdown started? Is that correct?
It was like 2019.
Okay,
so maybe like 8 months before.
So did you guys get to go out and play any live shows before that all happened?
No, we had one booked with Legion was coming to town.
And as well. It was
Fallujah,
a hell of a first show, and we had things already kind of going, and then everything shut down. We waited to release the project, because why not, right?
Yeah, it's a smart thing to do. Because it just feels like it kind of be a waste when no one could do anything with anything at that point, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, once you guys got started, now that I kind of want to dive into the pop culture of it, I haven't seen the new film yet, but if you guys had to choose between the new stuff and the old stuff, what would you say is better at this point?
Oh, it's still the old stuff. Come on, you know, there's not many sequels that are like better than the original, except Terminator 2.
Yeah, I give you that. And what was the new one any good though?
It was. I would give it an A-.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty solid from a diehard Ghostbuster fan. All right, let me ask this: 1 or 2? Which one was better to you?
1.
Yeah, I agree. yeah. And did you guys kind of like base some of your videos off some of the stories too in some of those movies?
So the lyrics are written based on the first movie. Really? So I'm still getting through movie 1 material lyrically. And I just try to have fun with it, remember some of my most favorite lines, and then I'll be like, well, that's the title of the song, right?
Yeah. And
just kind of start building off of that, off of some of the memorable slapstick kind of funny lines.
Nice. That's the other thing that got me excited about this. It's like, yeah, sure, I'm a big fan of a bunch of old school death metal bands and all that, but the whole, Satan thing, it's kind of, I just didn't want to do more of that, so why not just make it fun, right? Especially with something that we like, which is the movie. So I thought that was a really good idea, and I'm having fun.
Yeah, it gives it more of a comic relief to it as well, too.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many bands that have already done the serious. I mean, like Theo said, they've done the Satan thing. Everyone's done like the space themed. Everyone's done sci-fi thing.
Yeah,
right. There's not a lot of stuff left to do, and I'm like, well, I like Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
and I like metal.
Yeah, it's pretty smart. But I want to talk more about your guys' influences too. You said you mentioned Aborted, but as you guys is drumming both of you guys your first instruments coming up as kids?
You go first, Ryan.
I am a guitar player. First and foremost, I dick around on drums, but I don't really know what the hell I'm doing.
Oh, gotcha.
I fake it till I make it, pretty much with every instrument, and so far, it's got me here. So I guess it's not that bad. I played guitar since I was 13. Attempted to play drums, probably just as long as then.
Uh-huh.
And then I just picked up vocals. like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, I started taking lessons because I had no idea what I was doing.
Oh yeah, you can hurt yourself really fast.
Yeah, I really didn't want to, so I took lessons with Mark Garrett.
Oh, okay.
He lives here in town, and he has a really cool YouTube channel where he does like they're kind of like react videos, but he'll watch a music video and break down what he thinks the vocalist is doing.
Oh, those are fun to watch.
So, yeah, so he knows how to teach people. I'm like, well, if he can like help me, or if he can help anybody, he can help me. So, yeah, I took like a handful of lessons, and it was a tremendous help.
Now, I
don't have to worry about hurting myself. And
was it a lot of breathing exercises and kind of conditioning as well for that kind of type of screaming?
Yeah, a lot of breathing exercises, learning how to control your diaphragm, learning where the distortion is supposed to come from. And then where you focus it with your resonance, and then just, using your head as an instrument.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy when you think about it. I can't sing to save my life, but I know it's an art in itself there. But as far as drummers though, were you kind of always just gravitating towards blast beats yourself, or were you kind of just into that later?
That was later. I really grew up on like the Eagles as a young kid, and a lot of R&B. And then as I got older, I started getting into like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Metallica, of course, and then it just got progressively heavier. And then I heard Dimmu Borgir, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
So
I'm like, "Is that a human playing that?" It was Nick Barker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So when did the producing bug kind of catch you? Was that sort of on the trip up, or was that recent too as well?
That came out of necessity, just because I grew up in a pretty small town just outside Chicago. And it's just really hard to find someone to record metal, because by that time I was like 15 or 16 in a band, and everyone around me that would record didn't really know how to do metal well. And I struggled to find anybody for years and years that I had enjoyed working with and got a good sound out of, recording wise and production wise. So that kind of came out of necessity. Like, if I can't find someone to do it for me, or that I can afford, because you do have the big guys like the Andy Sneaps and stuff, but as a kid you can't afford that. So yeah, it came out of necessity. Like, I'm just going to have to learn how to do it myself. I ended up going and taking a couple classes here at MCC. That's actually where I ran into Cameron. We had class together, and I saw him walk into class one day, and he had an Opeth shirt on, and that's my favorite band.
Really?
And I was like, "Oh, this is going to be good."
Well,
here we go.
I want to touch base on it a bit more, but I didn't want to skip over Dio's influences. Dio, what drummers were the big ones for you growing up?
Right on. Just fast forward, we just saw Opeth together last week. So
wow, they just got a new bass player, right? Or who just left? Oh, someone just left that.
Have a new drummer.
I'm sorry?
They have a new drummer.
Oh, that's right. I was just reading that somewhere. That's what it was. How is he?
He's good. Obviously, can play the material very, very well.
Yeah.
But just to dive in real quick, I started playing when I was 12, 13. It was just one of those things. I got attracted to it right away, and I just went for it. I got a really, really cheap drum kit at the time, and I started playing with just friends here and there. I started playing mostly, punk rock, hardcore, because that's what I could play at the time. Was easier. I was always attracted, for metal. I started with Kiss and Black Sabbath and all the classics, and obviously Sepultura.
And this was in Brazil, is that correct?
Yeah, back in Brazil.
How was the music scene as strong as it was in America? I mean, was it still like a common thing over there? I know I'm sounding ignorant, but was it still like?
No,
was it?
There's many bands, many fans there. I just think that the scene's just not as big because there's not a lot of money into it, and it's really hard to tour the country because everything's far and the roads are bad. Here's a little easier to do a circuit, let's say.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot. You hear all the artists saying that they love playing down there. There's always a lot of people. They all go crazy. But yeah,
Yeah, because they pretty much have to fly in no matter where they're coming from to get down there.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of metal fans in it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played with a bunch of bands down there, and I toured all over and all that, and a bunch of death metal bands too. And then the another thing I was gonna say is that was of course a little offensive because he was not a vocalist. Ryan, he was like into growl, which is really hard, but really he kicks ass, man. It's awesome. It's good. But as far as influences, like I said, I started with punk rock and all that, so I can say, it goes from Marky Ramone to Igor Cavalera, and of course Dave Lombardo, and
there you go,
Mike Portnoy at some point too. So I started kind of joining all these things here and there. Max Kolesny from a Brazilian death metal band called Crisian. That's what got me into brutal death metal. Trying to stay out to blast beats and stuff, and then of course the old school ones, Suffocation and all that. Always love that kind of stuff. It's just
so I've listened to your stuff a lot in the recent. What do you do to keep your endurance up? That long endurance songs like that.
Well, mostly, like I said, I was never really super technical and study type of guy because I always played in many bands at the same time, touring here and there. So that was for endurance. That's what I did, and learning a lot of different songs and different subgenres, let's say, of metal and all this. But of course, at some point, if you want to play extreme metal, you have to stop and study at least a little bit. So for years, I would do, the same boring shit on top of a metronome, just doing, only one kick or only the other kick, and then both kicks, and then both hands, and blast beat. Yeah. And it's boring, but you got to do it. There's no way out of it.
Yeah, it's meat and potatoes, man.
There's no way out of it if you want to
So
get your ribs loose. There's no way out of it.
So I want to talk about your current setup. Are you playing the Atomic Kit currently right now as well?
I do have a Atomic Kit. Yeah, we also use a Atomic Kit to record our songs.
Oh, nice.
Not mine, but it was another one. Temple Benga, I believe.
Oh, nice. That's a good song.
Yeah, that one's the Birch Babinga, the Star Classic. Oh. Actually, I got that from the old drummer of another band that Dio was in.
Huh.
Right. It's Stripped the Soul.
Yeah.
Those are great kits. They have a lot of low end and they're like straight to the point. I love those kits.
Yeah, and the Birch makes it like kind of loud too. I like that.
Yeah. And then what's you guys' cymbal choice? Are you, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are using Meinl, is that right?
It was a mix, a little bit of everything, because we got some cymbals from friends as well, and we tried different things, because, when you're going to play extreme metal, it's really hard to find something that, because it's so much information going on that you don't want a cymbal that would just overcome the whole thing,
Yeah.
So sometimes you go for a thinner cymbal as crash, because I use a lot of crash.
So
it doesn't just too loud and all that, or it doesn't leak too much in other microphones. So we have the advantage that we record everything at home with Brian. He's a sound engineer. He has the whole thing in his house that we need to do it. So we get to experiment, every time we go there and record a new song. So that's something that's been really fun to do.
Nice. So
yeah, I actually just recorded. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, a lot of people think thicker cymbals are always the way to go, but thinner cymbals actually project better, and they actually just hold up a lot longer, too, under condenser mics.
Yeah, it's hard to find, like, I actually just did, I was going to say, I did a cymbal shootout. So I just recorded Mark Gray. He's in Deadwood Reclamation.
Oh, nice. That's
he cut some. Right? Yeah, we cut drums for Nate's project, and Mark came over with like I don't even know how many cymbals. It was like dozens, like plural. It was a lot of cymbals.
And
dude, it was so much fun.
I would have showed.
It was really cool.
Blast, man.
Oh, dude, I would have totally invited you if I had your info at the time.
No worries, we'll figure it out next time.
Yeah, I mean, it was super fun to go through and like go through cymbals and be like, nope, not this one, not this one. I think we had like 8 or 10 or 12 crashes, maybe a couple rides, multiple Chinas.
And did they kind of
multiple splashes?
All to be in the same series, or were they all over the place? The ones you picked?
No, they were kind of all over the place. We ended up with a mixture of like Sabians, and this brand he uses called Sentent, which I've never heard of them before. But I mean, most of them are like winners. But it's nice to have those options because then you can listen to like the guitars were already done at that point.
Yeah,
and it's nice to listen to the guitars and be like, all right, what fits here cymbal wise? Like what, like Dio was saying, what cymbal is not taking over the guitars? So having the ability to do that is really cool. And yeah, I'm definitely fortunate that we can sit here at my house and have a beer or 5 and just hang out with drums all day.
So back to the production stuff. Do you guys typically like to record drums first or guitars first?
That really depends.
Yeah. So do you guys usually line up a scratch track or then kind of just lay the drums on that and then do the final guitars over? That was always the traditional way we used to do it when I was in metal bands, at least.
Yeah. Singers usually would do scratch guitar for me to play on top of it, metronome and all that. And then after we have the drums, they will go into the official guitar tracking.
Nice. And now do you offer your services to the public so I can kind of plug it for you here as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the name of your studio? You said you did at your home. I don't want to give away your address or anything like that. But so
oh no, it's cool. I just use my name. I tried the whole like business name. I'm Mr. Professional, whatever, and it's kind of goofy because when someone asks like, "Hey, who did you work with?" and they say, "Oh, I worked at Super Cool Sound Studios." It's like, okay, well, who works there? Like, who did it? Kind of like a redundant question.
Yeah,
why don't you just give the dude's name?
Yeah, Bob or Hey Pete or whatever. Like, oh yeah, that guy. It's always the same thing.
Right. So I kind of I had a website and all that stuff. I'm like, you know what? I don't really use this nearly as much as I thought. Mm-hmm. No one ever. Everyone, like I said, everyone always asks, well, who's like the name behind the business name? Mm-hmm. So I just ditched it. So just hit me up.
So Instagram,
come at me, guys. And don't really do the Instagram because I'm kind of an old fart like that.
Okay.
But I'm on Facebook. Facebook Messenger me, call me.
Okay.
Well, whatever. I'm a chatter. I like to talk on the phone rather than text.
All right. And then are you guys open to recording all kinds of genres or just kind of sticking in the metal stuff?
It depends. If it's something really cool, I'm down to do it. But my passion is metal.
Nice. Now
I spent a long time recording a lot of stuff that I wasn't passionate about. So I'm kind of like, maybe I don't do that because that's not really fair to the artist either.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit of a drum geek question for you. I'm a big snare guy. What is your go-to snare for tracking?
Depends on the material, but for our stuff,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, for our stuff, we've been rocking a vintage Ludwig Superphonic.
Ooh, so nice.
5-inch deep.
Yeah, which was for me. Yeah, we had a few to try on, and that was I didn't expect anything from that snare. Old school rock and roll snare for a flat fitting. No way. Turns out it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's
it's
loud and right. I have a couple ones from the '60s, and they're loud and straight to the point. It's amazing how good they sound.
Yeah, that's what this one is. Yep, 5x14. It's from 1968 or something.
Yeah. It's got the arrowhead.
And it's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now,
and like he said, we tried some brass, we tried some copper, we tried a whole bunch of different ones, and all of them we tried a free floater, which was cool, but a lot of those like 6.5-inch deep snares for that speed. Yeah, it just starts to kind of build up a little too much. So having a shallower snare for the speeds that Dio's playing is definitely the way to go. At least so far. I mean, once we get our hands on some of your snares, who knows?
Yeah, that'd be good. So yeah, I know. Do you guys have any? I know everything's still kind of weird, but do you guys have any future plans for shows, or is that kind of still in the works as well?
Ooh, plug it, Dio.
We have a show in 4 days.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah, we're playing Tucson this Saturday. I don't remember the name of the place, the Bard's place or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Lord of the Rings. It should be fun, of course.
We haven't really promoted it much because we've only played out once, and
it's like a secret show.
We figured, no one from Phoenix was going to want to drive down to Tucson for a local show. So
those are really the best ones because you kind of learn how to like operate as a band, get your stuff packed, who's responsible, who's not. You know, you start to learn a lot about each other with those kind of shows.
Yeah,
they're good.
So we're looking forward to it though. Get out of town. Yeah.
Now, as far as I've been introducing a lot of people to your guys' music, obviously Spotify and Instagram is the best place to check you guys out.
And YouTube.
Oh, YouTube as well, yeah. That's usually the easiest to go to.
YouTube and, you know, besides all the lyric videos and the music videos, we usually post these skits that we do. They're pretty funny, so you're going to check them out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been watching those too. I like the Spirit Halloween stuff. It's pretty funny.
Really?
Well, guys, it was really nice meeting you, and it was great to have you guys on the show. Once again, it's Seboullia. We had Ryan Johnson and Dio. Thanks again, guys. I'd like to have you guys on once we get everything the scene back going. You guys are playing out again. But I have a feeling we're going to do a lot of cool stuff in the studio. So, once again, thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you very much, man.